Daytona. Everybody ready, set, go. Rev it up and let's roll. There's a party in the fast lane. Got my hands flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on a stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine. Bringing back the sunshine. Baby, it's about time. Oh, bring it back. Oh,
Hello everybody and welcome to Daytona Beach, Florida. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. Race 1 of season number 4, the Daytona 500 here, Daytona International Speedway. I'm here in the booth alongside one of my favorite partners in the booth, none other than Tommy McIntyre, CEO of Crisis Racing Team. Tommy, how are you doing today?
Oh, well, it's even better after that warm introduction. You're making me blush up here, Tyson. It's a lovely day. It's nice to have some good weather here. It's sunny Florida. It makes it for a welcome change from grey Ireland.
Earlier this week, we had Speed Weeks where Michael Guthrie captured the first ever Clash, the winner. And then here's your boy, Christopher Marnell, peeling off for qualifying. That was a day later as we saw all 47 entries here for the Daytona 500 take to the track. Chris Lilly was the one who won the pole here. Carson Green in practice the next day had an incident, hit the wall. He did not make the race but went to a backup for his duel. Won by duel number 1 for Richard Fridge and duel number 2 to Squarius Greenhouse Jr. We've had 4 action-packed days of racing, but now it's the big show. Tommy, let's take us into the keys to the race.
Yeah, we got some 50 laps of racing here ahead of us. This 2.5 mile speedway. The fuel run is 55 laps, so we don't have to worry about any pit stops, unless perhaps we see overtime. It's the first race of the season. There's a lot of new drivers here, some part-time drivers, so there's a lot of storylines in that department. Outside that as well, teammate help and manufacturer help would be a huge part of this. We want to see the Chevrolets working well together, so keep an eye out for that in particular. There was 4 full-time drivers that didn't make the race, Green, Garcia, Colon and McKean, so that'll take away from their full season points, so they're already behind the 8 ball going into race 2. And like I said earlier, we've got some one-off spoilers here, so let's see if they can mix it up and get into the thick of the action.
Absolutely, well said here. Let's jump into our starting lineup. Row number 1 sees Chris Lilly and Matthew Fastnot. Row 2, your dual winners, Richard Fridge and Desquarius Greenhouse Jr. Row 3 sees Henrik Guo and Alexander Rowe, 2 teammates. Row 4, Logan Williams and Ethan Harrison. Your inside row is the finishers from Duel 1. Your outside row is your finishers from Duel 2. Maybe and Bennington in Row 5, Bennington a one-off entry. Row 6, Blake Walker and Tyler Cook. Row 7 sees Chase Gibbons and Ryan Barone. Row number 8 sees Robbie Gordoff and Nicholas Soa dialing it down to a part-time entry this year. Reed Simpson and new team owner Anthony Foss make up row number 9. Row 10 showcases Jordan Madrid and Joe Kraus. Michael Guthrie and another new full-time team owner this season, Braden Sigafos, make up row 11. Jonah Burridge, welcome back to the series, and Austin Green in row 12. Jeremy Mead and Hasgrala see in row 14, Cam Arrow and Eris Yuko. Row number 15 is going to see Season 1 Daytona 500 winner Ian McDaniel and Justin Haley. Row 16 sees his teammate Zachary Ponce and Garrett Lamar. Row 17, our last season champion Christopher Marnell and last year's 500 winner Santiago Nicholas. Row 18 sees Grayson Collins and Strokey Banger. Riley Gorse and Alexander Rowe make up row 19. Row number 20 Welcome back to the series, Nathan Stapleton and Aaron Giffen. And rounding out the field, Quentin Haley and Christian Visconti. Cars are a few short seconds from hitting the green. Any final words before we send them away, Mr. McIntyre?
Just hoping for a nice, clean and safe one here, especially from my guys. Would love to see if we can go one better than we did last year.
Chris Lilly, Matthew Fastnut, your front row, heading to the green flag for the first time in Season 4. We've got a points-paying race. 50 laps here at Daytona off and underway. A sold-out crowd on their feet, all 100,000 two-dimensional beings roaring as Chris Lilly takes them through turns 1 and 2. Down to the inside goes, looks like that's a DAF Racing train, the 27, 37, and 17, led by Duel 1 winner Richard Fridge, who will go on board with the 17 of Logan Williams. As Daytona seems to disappear into the ether, will go off the on-board, is coming down to the line for lap 1. Now on lap 2, Richard Fridge leads at the stripe.
Already we're starting to see some of what we were talking about in the pre-race notes there with the DAF Racing guys. Well, they're not really working together right now very effectively, going 3 wide, but we already saw them being able to freight train their way to the front there and lead that opening lap. See if we see more of that towards the points paying end of the race.
Absolutely, and you see the 37, that's Alexander Rowe. He's back in the 37 for a 1-year sabbatical from DAF Racing. Your season number 2 champion, sitting in a little hug car that was previously piloted by Jerry Chen. I believe we'll talk about him later. That DAF Racing train lines back up on the top side. That's a 1-3 Racing 1-2 with Blake Walker and Ethan Harrison, as Ethan Harrison follows the 88 up in tow to the rest of the Chevrolets on the top lane, as an awfully aggressive move from Chase Gibbons in the 14. I believe he got shoved by Robbie Gordoff. With you guys at Crisis Racing, you saw a lot of polls from you guys as a unit, but none more than Robbie Gordoff, who had 4 last season, but no checkered flags from anyone other than Christopher Marnell. You expect that to change coming into this season? What's the expectation?
Yeah, well, we'd hope obviously that we can keep up the same level of speed that we showed in the qualifying this season. But like you say, hopefully translating that into more on-track success. Obviously, we had 2 rookies last year, so that probably played a little bit of a part. But Tyler Cook was up there for a large number of races that he was the bridesmaid in. So hopefully he can capture himself a first victory this year. And like you say, with the single lap pace that Gordoff showed us last year, we know how talented he can be behind the wheel. It's just about putting a full race together. So we've got faith in our guys that they'll provide for us the same way that they did last year, and hopefully excel beyond that. So just looking for a few more lucky breaks to go our way, have a bit more of a rubber green this time. Obviously Chris had a plentiful amount of it winning the championship last year, but for some of the other guys, we'd like to see it go their way.
Tyler Cook, started last season with 2 straight second place finish, leading the points after Atlanta by well over 15 points. If it wasn't for Rockingham, I feel like that would have continued to catapult his success. The rear bumper of Robbie Gordoff, you see the run that Chris Lilly's got with a big head of steam as the backstretch of Daytona now disappears into the ether. Lining 3 goes the pole sitter of Chris Lilly, and we see a little bit more teammate help. That's Guthrie and Jonah Burridge in the 55. They're tucked right in behind the 1 car, 3rd and 4th in line on the bottom lane. Three by 3 all throughout the field. This wide shot just shows how impressive this dance is, with all 42 drivers in the field, all condensed in a pack. From front to back is about a second and a half. That's impressive. You're covering about a football field a minute, or a football field a second. You're running at just over 190 miles an hour. Chris Lilly attaining the lead. Jonah Burridge now being pushed to the front by Lamar Race Shops number 42. That's Cam Arrow making the move from Kevin Harvick Inc. to the newly formed Lamar Race Shops, as we got 4 wide for about 5th place here with Ian McDaniel, Christopher Marnell, Michael Guthrie. It's a lot of veterans there. Nobody's willing to budge an inch. I hope this sorts out here because this could get dangerous.
Yeah, that could very easily go wrong in an instant. That's what you're talking about, the precious dance. And just as we say that, there
it goes.
That's the big one.
The big one on lap 7 of 50. It looks like that's the pole sitter of Chris Lilly. That's the 33, the 13. Christopher Marnell got involved there. Ian McDaniel, Joe Kraus. A few others involved as well. Brayson Collins. It appears, as we're going to race back to the line. Cam Arrow, the second-year veteran in the number 42 DHL livery for Lamar Race Shops, a new team. He's the only one of this team to make the show. With all that talk that Ricardo Garcia was talking in the booth in the Clash, did not make the show. The 42 looking to show out for the Lamar Race Shops crew. But let's take a look at this wreck here and see what happened.
Well, it started from this 4 wide moment down the front stretch. They were able to make it work for a decent length of time. Honestly, I thought that Chris might have helped through the dog leg, but made it work all the way through turns 1 and 2. But let's see what happens here as they enter into the backstretch. Ian he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. He had Michael squeezing him to his outside. I mean, Chris really had nowhere to go because he was right down by the yellow line. But Ian himself also had nowhere to go between the two of them. Got into Chris's rear right and hooked him round, sent him into the rest of the field.
Here's a great top-down view for you.
Yeah, I mean, like, Chris is literally on the yellow line and still isn't able to give Ian enough space because he's getting squeezed by Michael. So not really on Ian, but certainly not on Chris. No bias for myself there whatsoever.
Saw a very hard hit from the 84 of Strokey Banger. I think this angle is going to show it here as he just went hard into the outside wall. Oh,
yeah.
Passenger side impact. Not too terrible, but a lot of these guys seem to have some damage, not a lot of extensive damage. It seemed like everybody was able to hit the brakes. A lot of these guys that got involved in the wreck may have just been some minor crash damage and just a little bit of spin outs. All these guys involved will be on the left-hand side of your screen. McDaniel, Marnell, Guthrie, Greenhouse, Lilly, Cook, Gordoff, Banger, Kraus, Lamar, Collins, Sigafos, Burridge, Gorse, Maybe, and Rowe. And it looks like nobody's coming down pit road here. What do you make of this?
I was surprised by that. There was a few cars that I saw had a decent amount of damage, and even like the guys towards the back did expect they'd at least assess the damage and potentially take 4 tires while they were there. But obviously nobody was interested in it. Nobody felt that they were that badly damaged. So we'll see how it goes for them. Obviously this is Daytona. It's a track where you can kind of get away with damage. Look at what Eric Jones was able to achieve in some of his races that he's won here. So we'll see what happens for these guys further back if they can keep on to the end of this drafting train.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be the name of the game here as single file start, green flags back out, lap 12 of 50 as Eris Yuko takes the lead for the first time this season. We'll see a full field flyby here. That's going to be the name of it for some of these guys. Staying connected on the back of the pack here as look at this train that we've got of 1-3 Racing and Dark Horse Racing. It's Quentin Haley, and then he's the team owner of 1-3 Racing, and his drivers that he employs are doing him a good service right now. Christian Visconti and Blake Walker pushing the 31 to the lead. I think that's one way to keep the boss happy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think we need to see some more of that from the guys out of the Lamar's shop. If he wants to continue to get some of our best engines, he's going to need his guys to be performing in a similar way for CRT, not just for himself. But yeah, no, that's definitely the way to do it for the guys over at Haley's team.
Like Walker takes the lead for the second time here today. A little bit of trouble for the pack back in this area trying to form up. Looks like these guys are really like not a lot of. I mean, you've got some Fords here, maybe, and some Chevys, but not a lot of happiness going on here. I mean, you've got two teammates in the 52 and the 55, and then the 6 and the 97, but they're nowhere close to each other, and they're just not able to form up. So I think this is going to be something to keep an eye on throughout the rest of this run here to see if these guys are going to be able to form up, collect up as a pack, as we're 2 by 2 through the front half of the field. But after the top 15, top 20, we're going 3 wide for no reason, and arguably no reason in 30th place. These guys should be focused on working together here, as you see Lamar getting up to the back bumper of Cook.
Yeah, I think the other issue you have back there is when it's guys racing back to the stripes. Sometimes you have cars with more damage that make it there than cars that actually have less damage. So it takes a few laps for those more damaged guys to work their way towards the back. So maybe once we see some of the slower cars get filtered out, they might start working together a little better. But no such luck so far.
Absolutely, as we continue to see drivers going round and round. 3 wide up front, Riley Gorse, a rookie here in the LIMECAR SimRacing Challenge. He was actually raced in the Truck Series in season number 2. He's back in the series and in the Cup Series for the first time here with Bones Motorsports in the number 60 Sinal livery. Getting a good push he likes the push that he got from Aaron Giffen, and he's going to try to stay with him. But it appears that top lane is just not as formed up as they want it to here, as Ethan Harrison is able to take the lead basically by proxy, not even by doing anything, just by existing. Ethan Harrison leading in lap 16 of 50, now sliding up to that top lane clear, as it looks like that back half of the field has gotten single file, and they seem to be working together quite stoutly to get back towards this front pack. We see the 16 of Zachary Ponce. He's starting to work his way back through. Look at this shot down the back straightaway. Such a beautiful field of liveries here with these cars. All these cars beautifully painted, wonderfully colored. Oh, big wiggle out of Quentin Haley there in the middle of the pack. That could have been dangerous. He's able to save it. They stay 3 wide. I thought Camaro was going to push the issue, but instead he stays tucked in behind. As Kyle maybe getting a little aggressive there with Chase Gibbons, maybe trying not to let the emotions get to his head. His crew chief over the radio telling him to stay calm. And I mean, in these super speedway races, Tommy, that's all you got to do is just stay calm. You got to be in it to the end.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, you want to be in a position to take advantage towards the end of the race. You don't want to be down in 30th place, trundling down off the draft or anything like that. You also, like you say, you have to be in it to win it. So there's definitely a middle ground of to be struck at this stage of the race. Aggression when it's there to be taken, but not just making senseless moves that'll end up in wrecking out of the race before you get to the checkered.
The 21 of Austin Green, 20 of Joe Kraus and the Repulsor, they've kind of fallen to the wayside. They seem to have lost the draft a little bit. And Grayson Collins as well in the 5 has fallen way out of the draft. He is a few corners back, actually. He might become lap traffic soon. Henry Guo, he won the last points-paying race at a super speedway at Talladega. He won 2 of the last 3 races in the LIMECAR SimRacing Challenge last season. The season 1 champion looking for a return to form, and I think he's found it, but that was last season. It's now a whole completely different season 47 cars he had last year on a more consistent basis. He said he had too many wrecks last year, and that's what took him out of contention early on.
Yeah, well, we know how talented Henry is at all the oval types. If you were a betting man, you really would put your money on him to win at a super speedway. But I think any sane person wouldn't bet on a super speedway race, just because there are so many variables and so many inconsistencies. Like you say, one bad move from somebody else can cost you your entire race and you're innocent bystanders. So obviously Henry has the talent, as we've seen over the years, with championships and race wins. But yeah, whether he can put it together here for a 500, it's in his hands as much as it's in everyone else's. So we'll wait and see what happens for the 47 crew.
Here's Santiago Nicolas, Rookie of the Year last season, as well as your Season 3 Daytona 500 winner. Assuming the lead for just a little bit, Jerry Chen in the 53. That's another storyline. He took 1 year at Dash Racing, and now he's back in the car that he made his debut with back in Season 2, mid-season, taking over in the 53 car. He's back in that car, back in the 53, back with Astolfo Motorsports. And as we're going to keep going along with storylines as the lead keeps shuffling, who else to take the lead but last year's champion? Finally got the monkey off his back, Christopher Marnell, with 2 wins on the year. He is now leading here at Daytona with good friend and also veteran Ian McDaniel right behind him.
Yeah, as you said, Ian himself, a former Daytona 500 winner. It's crazy when you see all these guys who are cycling through here. You know, it's people who have won at super speedways, people who are former champions, people who have been in the series for a number of years. It's interesting that it's all these guys who have experience that are managing to find their way to the top. So even at such a curveball and such a randomized race as a super speedway, somehow the cream still rises to the top, as it so often does around you too, Tyson.
Absolutely. Well, I would say I'm quite well versed in the cream rising to the top, especially with you in the booth alongside me. On another note, it seems to be getting quite cozy in here. I don't know about you. But Marnell coming back to the front here with a huge head of steam. I don't know where this run came from. He must have heard us talking about cream rising to the top, and that 23 bolt out of a cannon and went straight to the lead from the top side. And now Marnell has taken the lead here on lap 23, coming to lap 23 of 50. Look at that lead he's got, over 2-3 car lengths. He's looking
he heard us in the He heard us in the booth talking about cream rising to the top, and now he's trying to get this race done as quick as possible so he can get himself a nice creamy head of Guinness, maybe a nice creamy head of something else. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, he's absolutely, I don't know where he found that run from, but he is absolutely stormed off. Hopefully he doesn't get freight trained here, although he might enjoy that.
Given the driver, I think he would enjoy the circumstances. But yeah, the pack hasn't really caught up to him. Like we've seen other drivers getting runs, and we saw this as the tires wore and the race developed in the duels, where Kaz Gralla and Blake Walker were able to amass leads and really able to maintain the lead for sustained stretches of time. And I mean, having stamina, having sustain, and being able to sustain something for a long time is the name of the game, not just in plate racing, but in racing as a whole and in life as a whole. But here comes Strokey Banger, able to take the lead from Christopher Marnell. And now it seems that the field is going to engulf the 23 car as the 33 just went top to bottom, abandons the help he was going to give Marnell, and Robbie Gordoff is looking to take this lead once again. And it appears we got a slow car of Grayson Collins coming up here. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that Robbie Gordoff put the 16 in the blender, that's all.
He did. He crossed them up like he was prime Steph Curry with healthy ankles. I mean, it seems like this is the part of the race where you're okay falling to the back. We just hit halfway. Although we have Grayson Collins coming up here. He's going to be a slow car. This might impact how the leaders handle things, but with this situation coming above and with how these guys are driving, this is the time of the race where you need to start making aggressive moves. Not too aggressive, but figuring out what moves your car can and can't do, because this is going to be make or break towards the end of the race, as Grayson Collins is going to all but inevitably hold up this top lane.
Yeah, definitely. It's good for these guys as Grayson Collins just becomes a moving JCB on the track. It's good for these guys, the likes of Chris, being able to see that he has momentum on the top side, which many don't, and for the likes of Robbie, being able to see that he's able to make those aggressive moves from the top to the bottom. It gives them a lot of confidence, and towards the end of the race, later on down the stretch, they know then that they have the ability to make these aggressive moves when they're out front if they so need to or so wish to, which might prove pivotal when it comes to deciding who wins this race.
Absolutely, and a little bit of a shakeup now at the front of the field, which I don't think is, I mean, it will play dividends, but with it being lap 26 of 50, we've only seen 4 or 5 cars. It looks like the 27 of Richard Fritz has fallen off the back of the field. But we haven't lost too many people in terms of drivers that are away from the draft. It seems that everybody else has been able to back up to the field. Now the pack is now all formed, so it may be different. But we've only had 1 yellow so far here, and that was on lap 6. I do not think that these guys are going to be conditioned to stay with their sitting on their hands and be as clean as possible for the next 23 laps. Can you see it?
Not with some of the drivers we have out here now. I mean, I know that Ricardo Garcia didn't make the race, but there's still some hot heads out here, and like we were saying pre-race, there's a lot of guys out here that have made the field that don't have full season points to be worried about. Some of them may be coming back in a few races' time for some of the other open races, but their primary goal is going out here winning the 500. So there'll definitely be a few guys coming up over the next 10 laps whose mindset will start to change from trying to make it to the end of the race to just checkers or wreckers. So we'll have to see when that switch comes. It'll be a switch that'll change at a different time within each driver, depending on how aggressive they are. But as we see here now, we've got another DAF car back to the lead. Speaking of DAF, one of the real shocks of Speed Weeks was team owner Dominic Anthony not making the race, considering how strong obviously the Chevrolets are, and obviously the good engines that he has too. You saw all 4 of his other cars did really well in qualifying and were right up there from the very start of the race. So a bit of a shock not to see the veteran team owner do better than he did in the qualifying races.
Absolutely, and he did well in single speed qualifying. It's just, I think, with the nature of how short the duels are with those, it's such a bite-sized type of race and we see Blake Walker coming to the lead once again. This is the 3rd or 4th time that the 88 has taken the lead, so that's actually Blake Walker leading for about 2 laps before getting shuffled out. But Dominic was up front for a little bit, but then just fell to the back and wasn't able to recover. He went down to the bottom lane, but the bottom lane wasn't cycling like it was, and he said afterwards that it just was a bad deal, but he knows that 7 car has got speed, and with the open races that are available, I think Dominic is gonna be able to show his head and be good and be one of those guys to watch out for at another race. Unfortunately, the 500 is just one of those races that you just want to win, but I think for him, he's got 4 cars that are points paying that make the race. He's got 4 wide out front. We're gonna have to deviate our concern here. Let's stay clean. That's a lot of teammates here. And there goes Pasquale. Out in front of the field, we've got Reki.
Don't come back up.
Eris Yuko with heavy damage there. That's the 46, what appears to be Ryan Barone, 6 of Ian McDaniel, the 84 of Strokey Banger getting some front end damage, and that's just really unfortunate. That's not what we want to see here, especially. It's really going to shake up the field now, and I think this is going to change a lot of guys' mentality as Riley Gorse comes back to the stripe as your leader on lap 32 of 50. The rookie in the 60 car takes the lead here on lap 32 of 50. Tommy, let's take a look back at this replay and see what exactly happened.
Similar deal to the previous incident where they got 4 wide. This time the guys didn't have the veteran presence to make it through 1 and 2. They actually ended up wrecking on the front stretch, which in some ways is actually worse because as we see here, that some of the guys just re-entered the track. They hadn't regained control yet and ended up just plowing into the field in turn 1, which caused some serious damage for some folk out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I noticed, which I think we'll see from this angle, Jonah Burge actually earned his team owner. Oh, not by on purpose, but turns the 54 back up into the field after hitting him the first time. So rough break there for Eris Yuko, who seemed to get the most licks out of the field there.
In fairness to Jonah, it was one of those situations where you put the brakes on, you steer the steering wheel, and hope that you somehow found the one gap that's out there. It's hard to come by, especially like you see when the 54 is coming back up the track there. When you got cars bouncing around, ping ponging and pool balling all over the place, it's a tough break for any of the drivers out there that got involved.
23 at Marnell barely misses that one. Almost got clipped in the rear end. Here's one last look at it. The static shot from turn 1. Oh. Jonah re-entered the track pretty aggressively too.
Yeah, maybe can't really criticize him too heavy for the contact with Eris Yuko, but maybe questions could be asked about his re-entry there. As we see now, this time, second time is the charm. In this case, we see a couple of guys starting to make their way down pit road. I see former winner Ian McDaniel, I believe.
Pit stop's underway. We'll be right back after this short break.
Okay, guys, I told you. Just because I got Bud on the car doesn't mean I got Bud in the car.
Oh, terribly sorry, old boy. Sorry.
It's been carried away.
Do you mind signing my chainsaw?
2.
Kevin.
Couple less drivers involved this time, but a few more with some significant damage. Obviously, we saw them come down pit road for repairs, so a few guys felt like they needed it this time round. We'll see if that has any impact on the back end of the field, if any of those guys are completely off the pace. Peaking of people off the pace, we got Brazen Collins lined up on the inside row there. The field caught him within 15 laps, so we'll see if they're able to catch him again. He could throw a spanner in the works late on in this thing as we go green flag here with around 15 to go.
Riley Gorse in the 60 being pushed by Blake Walker, the 88. I think this would be his 5th time taking the lead, and he is going to get around that 60 with ease. Tommy, these Chevrolets just have something else on these restarts. I mean, or do they just have straight up raw speed that they're able to really utilize here. I mean, we saw with Christopher Bernal's big giant run, and now just Blake Walker taking over the 60 with ease. Because the pack is a big jumbled mess right now. The 88, 60, and 52 all out front with relative ease.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's something to do with the aerodynamics of the Chevys, but they definitely seem to be able to get up to speed a whole pile easier than the rest of the field does in any case. But obviously, like once you get up to 200 miles an hour, that advantage kind of stalls out with the level of the draft and the restrictors that we got in place. So definitely maybe it'd be one thing to see if we do go to overtime, perhaps. Maybe we could see the Chevrolets take advantage of that. But if it's a straight dogfight to the end, if it goes green from here, I'd say it'll be an advantage that kind of evens itself out.
Absolutely. And I think this is a note that I was going to add earlier before we had the incident. Now with 15 laps to go, I think this is going to be a critical point of when drivers start to turn the wick up, start to turn the notch up. Your tires are worn and they're gripping to the surface. Your fuel load is burning off. So your car's getting lighter, your car's getting faster. You've already made a lot of moves earlier that you're like, okay, now I kind of know what I'm going to be able to do with the car. Now I'm going to be able to know what moves I can and can't make. With your car being lighter, your car being faster, you're like, okay, I can make this move quicker with more people around me. How aggressive do you think these guys are going to get? We just saw a stupidly aggressive move take out another good portion of the field, although thankfully drivers are still up and running. We have no drivers out of the race, shockingly. We have the 42 Cam Arrow, who was involved in a few of these incidents. But we have Blake Walker out front, who seems to be in the captain's seat, and that 88 car doesn't have much competition yet. But we've got 13 laps to go, 12 laps to go.
Yeah, I think that for like we were saying, for a lot of the guys, they individually they would turn the wick up at different points depending on the situation they found themselves in within the pack, or just depending on how they are as a driver. But when you have a pretty set point, it's a bit of a hard reset when there's a caution like that. So I feel like for a lot of guys, that would be the time, as you were saying, that they would be like, just go, okay, now's the time to get aggressive. I'm at the back, or and I need to get to the front, or I'm at the front and I need to stay up here. So for a lot of these guys now, I think it's just the gloves are off at this stage, and they'll be trying their absolute best to claw their way back up to the front here if they're not already there.
I think this is where the veteran presence is going to start to matter. Christopher Bernal started outside the top 20, restarted outside the top 20. He's back up to the top 5, passed by the 31 and 60. He's got teammate help in Garrett Lamar coming on the bottom lane. Here comes Jerry Chen in the 53, another veteran presence, coming to surpass Blake Walker. And it's not like Blake Walker is a rookie by any stretch of the imagination. He's done well here, but leading the most laps doesn't win you the race. As Quentin Haley just went from top lane to bottom lane, said, "This lead's mine, fellas." 31 now in the lead, coming to 10 laps to go here at Daytona. Jerry Chen fighting back on that top lane with help from Blake Walker now. Tommy, you've been in the seat before, but you've heard from your drivers more so over the past season, being CEO of Price's Racing Team. This is the point, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the point in the race where it doesn't matter who's pushing you. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. You're just pushing until you got no more left to push, until there's about 3 laps to go, and then it's everybody fight for themselves.
Oh yeah, like if you see kind of a 50-50 move where you can go with your teammate or go with someone else, you'd hope that the guys would choose to go with their teammate and bring all the guys towards the front of the field. But like you say, that you just got to go with what you're getting given from behind, in front. Shit, sometimes it's from the side. So yeah, like at this stage now, it's just it's every man and woman for themselves, and children in the case of Ricardo Garcia, although he's not actually out on the track. So yeah, like you just got to go with what's getting given to you, and if it's something that benefits all, so be it. But there's no guarantee of that, and you just gotta, like you say, you just gotta take what you get given. As surprised that Chris was able to work his way from the middle lane there. I thought he was gonna get boxed in there and shuffled back, but he's managed to find himself a gap here and gotten down to the inside with some teammate help. So, like you say, like that's what it's all about. Sometimes you'll get given a lucky break like that, but sometimes you'll find that it just doesn't go your way.
Christopher Marnell looking for that elusive Daytona 500 victory. Everybody in here has. There's only a select handful of drivers that have raced all 4 seasons, and we've got a line of 3 of them on the bottom. Marnell, Lamar, Guthrie, all of them looking for that Harley J. Earl trophy and the Daytona 500 winner's ring that comes with it. In fact, I would say all 4 of those 3-ended numbered Chevrolets from Crisis Racing Team from Ireland themselves, they're all on that bottom lane. But coming here to lap 44 of 50, Marnell cleanly out in front. We've got another 4-wide situation brewing here with Anthony Foss in the 69. I think that any one of these guys up front have a chance to win. The place that you want to be, I don't know, is not where Christopher Marnell is right now. He's just, once again, amasses such a large lead out front. He just gets such a big run that it's disingenuous of him to break, as the middle line really stacks up here.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, to be fair, though, because like obviously Chris managed to get himself a nice little lead there, but when they went 4 wide there, and if Guthrie had gotten spun from like the second lane into the rest of the pack, obviously that would have been so beneficial to Marnell being out front at that stage. So yeah, it's just kind of like that's what it's all about. It's just like you get those lucky breaks where sometimes a caution would come out right when you need it, and sometimes they don't. And like you say, now caution doesn't come out, and now he's stuck on the top side rolling backwards while his 3 teammates are working together here on the bottom side, trying to work themselves up to the front.
Quad rolling deep. I would like to say that Lamar might have trail braked that middle lane so then he could fit in between the 43 and 33. I don't have any third eye vision. If that's what Lamar did, that is insanely high racing IQ, because he just snacked up the middle lane, was able to generate a run for himself, cleared Christopher Marnell, so then Chris wouldn't fall back a lot, and then now all the teammates are there on the bottom lane. All Marnell has to do is just stay strong on the top. Very smart move by the 13, is now the 33 at Gordoff, sees an opportunity and lets his space go on the bottom lane. And don't look now, but it's the 83 of Santiago Nicolas, your Daytona 500 winner from last season. He is in the catbird seat behind Anthony Foss in the 69.
Yeah, if anyone knows about winning here, obviously it's Santiago. So he, like we say, this is one of these things where sometimes you just sit at the back all race. You don't really talk about somebody and 5 laps to go. All of a sudden they're right there in contention and in the hunt. So we'll see if the 83 can get it done back to back.
Absolutely. As we said earlier, leading the most laps doesn't win you the race. Blake Walker, I think we've talked about the most being up front. He's stuck in that middle pack just trying to make something work. And you can see how this super speedway package, as the cars start to lighten up, as they start to get faster, these cars start to get really, really racy towards the end of a race. And don't look now, we have a DAF Racing train. We're a little bit stuck behind, but on that bottom lane, Henry Guo, Alexander Rowe, and Logan Williams. But as the cars start to lighten up, you're really able to move around more and try to make moves. This track is 3 lanes wide. You don't really want to go 4 wide, but you've got enough space to be able to bounce back and forth, really put some side draft and put some pressure on some guys. As Quinton Haley used the side draft there, he's got a big head of steam on that top lane with Santiago Nicolas trying to block all 3.
It's kind of been line astern here. Obviously, we've had a few changes out for the lead, but it's kind of been line astern further back in the pack for the past couple of laps. It's kind of the same couple of guys have been rotating through. So interesting to see here that it's kind of taken a little bit of a lull here. Maybe a couple of guys just have decided, right, I'm in a good enough position and I'm really going to go for it these last 2 laps, but I don't want to do anything just yet and ruin my chances. So I think now these last couple of laps here, we'll start to see the wick really get turned up.
Pride of Winnemac, Indiana, is Quentin Haley in the number 31. He has got his Chevrolet with Liesel chassis on the front hood, right side by side with Santiago Nicolas, who's looking to go back to back. I don't think we've seen a back to back winner in LIMECAR history. Maybe Alexander Rowe in season number 2. Back to back Daytona 500s, that would be impressive. But we still have about 4 miles to go, and don't look now. It's the second-year veteran with his rookie team, Anthony Foss in the 69, looking to the inside of the 83, coming to the white flag. Just a half mile to go before the white flag. 1 lap to go here at Daytona. Santiago Nicolas out front, but he's got a swarm of angry drivers right behind him. The 83 trying to block all 3 lanes, with the 13 of Garrett Lamar trying to win his Daytona 500 in his 4th start. The 69 of Anthony Foss trying to win it in his 2nd. Of Foss down to the inside. He's going to go to the inside of Santiago Nicolas. A mile to go in the Daytona 500. Who's it going to be? Side by side. The 83 falls back. The 69 out front. Coming to the stripe. The 83 with the head of steam at the stripe. Who's it going to be? 1/100th of a second. It's Santiago Nicolas going back to back here at Daytona.
Wow.
Let's take a look at that finish here. Oh my goodness, that was if you thought that he won the 500 by a close margin last year, he just did it again. Absolutely insane. The second-year driver in his 2nd 500 gets it by a nose. Here's another look at it. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't get much closer than that now, does it? Just a barely a fender.
Timed his run perfectly. And Santiago Nicolas, you've done it again. You're winner at the Daytona 500. You don't usually see... We don't usually have to call someone a plate racing merchant, but I think we could go back to the stats and see Santiago Nicolas's record from this entire season, and he has just been unreal at these plate tracks.
Hey, credit to you. If you're going to be a merchant at any one track type, I mean, the one that has the crown jewel race of the Daytona 500 is probably the best one to do it on, so crazy respect to Santiago. Like, the way he was able to control the draft of all 3 lanes. Obviously, the inside was so powerful, but he didn't let those 2 CRT cars, they could work together, but he didn't give them any draft. He was only giving draft to the outside and the middle lane, which meant that they weren't really able to get up to him and challenge him, so he only had to block the 2 outside lanes. It was really intelligent, really smart driving from Santiago, and I thought he had lost it there in turn 3, but he was able to come through with it, so yeah, fair play to him.
Timed that run almost perfectly, I would have to say. I mean, he backed it up to the front bumper of that 13 car and just launched off of turn 4. And that was the difference with the results scrolling by on the screen. Blake Walker, like I said, you lead the most laps, that doesn't win you the 500. Unbeknownst to us, the 42 of Aaron Giffen retired from the race with a few laps to go due to an engine issue. Some of these one-off drivers, not many did amazingly well, and I think if you're Carson Green, Ricardo Garcia, Sean McKean, and Stephen Colin, those guys seeing how Luna Bennington and Jonah Burridge, Austin Green and Nicholas Soa finishing 39th and 40th. You're sitting there kicking yourself like, man, if only I made the show. That would be more points than they've got now. And now they're sitting here with 0. So Atlanta is going to be awfully fun coming next week because now we've got a lot of guys. We've got 4 guys in the hole and a few championship contenders like Brayson Collins. Last year, he did extremely well and finished in the top 10 in point standings for a solo effort. Tommy, I know you know Brayson well. They're based out of the UK, so giving support to the team across the aisles. Now they're sitting behind the 8 ball. They've only got 4 points to start the year. Last year, they were able to get a top 20 in the 500. And it's not about winning the obviously, it's about winning the 500 as you get, 10 more points than second place. But it's about staying alive at these plate races and getting as many points as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's a huge swing to, coming first versus fourth as opposed to fourth versus eighth, for example. But there's definitely something to be said for at least coming in a respectable position rather than, absolutely miles off the back and finishing a lap down and, like you say, only getting 4 points, which is, like you say, having 4 points is almost the same as not showing up and not being able to actually get into the main event itself, as the likes of McKean and Garcia and others didn't manage to do. So yeah, for Brazen Collins and his effort, it's like you say, it's definitely not the ideal start, but we've seen guys come from bigger holes before. So yeah, for his sake, at least it's only after one race that he's down that much. So going forward, I think he'll have brighter days ahead of him.
Absolutely. And I mean, we will always refer back to and reference when Ian McDaniel was 30th in points at about race 7 or 8 of the, perhaps even race 6 or 7 of season 2, and was able to fight back to lead the points and then finish second in season number 2 in the point standings. That was an incredible comeback. So nothing is impossible in LIMECAR, and you just gotta have to see it to believe it. Any final words before we sign off the air for tonight's show?
No, not much to say other than congratulations once again to Santiago Nicolas for another Daytona 500 ring. He's racking them up now, so maybe I will place a bet on him next year. But yeah, maybe that'll break the old three-peat potential. But I know, just glad to be back in the booth and excited, looking forward to another amazing season of LIMECAR.
Absolutely. From all of us here in the booth to those of you watching at home, thank you guys for tuning in. And we will see you guys next week for what should be another exciting race. It's Atlanta once again. We're starting the season off with a bang. Everybody loves. I mean, I certainly like how our schedule is derived up, but going to the old, rough, abrasive surface of Atlanta is certainly one of my favorite stops of the year. We'll see you guys then. From myself and Tommy McIntyre, so long.
Bro,
That
strokey.